So you want to start a backyard plant nursery. Well, the last 3 years I've made some mistakes along the way that I'd like to share with you today so that you can avoid them and avoid making the same mistakes I did. Hello, my name's Travis. I grow edible plants and native plants in my backyard in order to share with my community as well as plant out on my farm in central Kentucky. Today I'd like to share with you some of those mistakes I've made along the way, and hopefully I can help you to avoid the same situations. Let's get into it. So I mainly grow plants from seed and from cutting, so if that applies to you, this will help you out with some different things to make sure that you accomplish throughout the year so that you don't set yourself back a year or a couple weeks, months at a time. Number one, make sure you get your plants into pots or into the hands of the owners as soon as possible in the spring. These guys right here are persimmons, and they leafed out while they were still healed in. So as you can see, there's quite a bit of nasty going on here. They don't look great, and it's because they were uprooted and potted while they had leaves on. So that's a good tip for next year for me, is to make sure that plants are in their pots or planted bare root before they fully leaf out for the spring. Yeah, this is probably at least going to set me back a whole year on these here persimmons right here. Thankfully, I have some more growing right there, and there's quite a few in that little air prune bed. But yeah, it's kind of a disappointment, but I know for next year, valuable information learned. Also, if you'll notice right here, I still have some hickories, and over there I have some oaks that are still healed in. They never quite made it out of the ground. They'll probably have an extra large taproot, and I'll have to be especially careful digging them out this fall. So like I said earlier, just make sure to get your plants out of the ground and where they're going before too late into the year. These definitely can't be moved right now. They'll all die more than likely. So got to wait until the fall in order to get them into their home, their pot, whatever. Mistake number two, if you want your plants to grow nice and straight, maybe think about staking them, getting some bamboo canes or some nice wooden staves. Like for instance, this serviceberry has flopped over really good. That doesn't necessarily look ideal, or somebody I'm giving it to, or just for us, it might be worth investing a couple dollars into getting a nice straight tall bush rather than having it flop over like that due to wind, reaching for the light, whatever it is that caused them to do this. So yeah, they're not too expensive online. I think they're like 50 cents a piece, but you got to buy in bulk, and it's definitely worth thinking about doing that, because these guys I don't feel comfortable getting rid of just because of how droopy and floppy they look. Another thing to think about is these black pots get extremely hot in the sun. They're not too hot to the touch right now, but they're a little warm. So because of that, it will dry these plants out really fast. So this week I got some 95, 93 degree heat days coming up. I will be out here watering every night after work just to make sure that they stay moist in there and don't dry out too bad. Some things I've done in the past in order to avoid the direct sun on the pots and them drying out is I will cover them up in leaf litter pretty good, and that will help keep the sun off the pots, and so that you don't have to be out here every single day watering from water buckets. Yeah, so just be thinking about that. Maybe mulch or get an irrigation setup. I do not have an irrigation setup here. I'm in my parents' backyard, so I collect rainwater and water from that every time that I have to water until the water runs out in the summertime. Last year we didn't get any rain, so we had to water from the hose quite a bit. But yeah, so just something to think about. Maybe cover your pots somehow with some leaf litter and help cool off some of that direct summer sun. Another thing to think about is where you site your plants. I know a lot of people in the nursery industry will have a shade house or some shade cloth for the heat of the summer. I am not in a position to do that. Like I said, I'm in my parents' backyard. So siting your plants appropriately is pretty important. If you'll take a look here, these plants are pretty much in a garden context, almost direct sun all the time. I have things like persimmons, pawpaws, different oaks, chestnuts, all out here. A lot of these species are not pioneer species. They are the second go. They will sprout and show up shortly after the first round of pioneer species, things like eastern red cedar and black locust, things like that. So they could do with a little less direct sun. Not seeing too much damage yet, but it's also not into the heat of the summer. We're not even in July yet. It's just now winding down into June. June's when it's just now winding down. So a lot of these plants are liable to have too much sun when it comes full heat of the summer. Now compare that with the plants over here. They will soon be shaded out for pretty much the rest of the day. They will have had just the morning sun from somewhere around 8 o'clock until, I don't know, 12:31. They will be shaded by this here oak tree. The sun is right behind that limb there, and soon it will be behind the rest of this tree, which will make these trees a lot happier. I've noticed I have to water less over here. I have to, they're just generally overall happier. There's less stress on the plants. So literally this far away is the difference. These plants are also on the west side of the house. So whenever the sun gets behind that oak tree, it will shortly be behind this house, this oak tree, and this catalpa in the front yard as well. So they'll get a solid 5-6 hours of sun in the morning, and then in the afternoon it's indirect light for the rest of the day, if not shade. So I have most of my pawpaws over here, a lot of like shrubbier bushes over here as well, haskaps, which really struggle in the full heat. But yeah, that's just something to think about as you go growing your nursery. I would do much better if most of these plants were on this side, but then my dog travels through here quite frequently, so she wouldn't have a great spot to go visit her dog friends in the next door over at the fence over there. It's just something to think about. Everybody's context is different. You have different reasons for why you do certain things. But it might be worth thinking about where you site your plants, giving them a little bit more shade for when the dog days of the summer come along. Finally, something else to think about, last one, is do some market research on what plants are a hot commodity around you. I could pretty much in the spring and the fall sell out as many pawpaws as I wanted to, while these elderberries here did not move, and I had, I don't know, probably 125 elderberries this year to trade out to friends and plant in our farm and stuff like that, and they just didn't do so hot. So yeah, market research, do some market research, join Facebook groups, community forums about like what plants are popular in your area, maybe some tree Facebook groups or gardening Facebook groups or different groups like that about what people are growing, what they're interested in, what people are buying in, what other people are selling, what they're selling a lot of, things like that. If you can find people that are nurserymen around you or grow trees around you, maybe talk to them, see what they're doing well in, what they can't grow enough of, things like that. But yeah, that would be my advice on what to do in order to avoid the mistakes I've made. Hope you found this useful. Hope you found it valuable. If you have, I'd appreciate a subscribe, but if not, no big deal. Good to see you. Glad you were here. That's all I have for this time. Peace out, produce people.